Today we're going to talk about 15 really useful phrasal verbs. To bump into someone. This is when we meet them by accident. So, for example, we could be walking down the road and see someone that we know but weren't expecting to see them. So we didn't plan to meet them. You'll never guess who I bumped into. I bumped into Sarah on the way to the shop. In all of these cases, we accidentally met this person. Run into. Again, this is a very similar meaning to bump into someone. We meet them by accident or unexpectedly. So, for example, I ran into my primary school teacher in the shop. We didn't plan to meet the teacher, it just happened accidentally. I always run into people I know when I go back to my hometown. To catch up with someone. This is when we plan to meet someone that we haven't seen for a while. And then we discuss what has happened since we last saw them. So we are finding out about their life events. So, for example, we need to arrange a catch-up soon. It's been far too long. I caught up with my friends from secondary school. We went for drinks the other night. So we're meeting people we haven't seen in a long time and figuring out what's been going on in their life. To meet up with someone. This is when we plan to meet someone for coffee or to talk. So we make a plan, we arrange to see them. Let's meet up on Tuesday. We will meet up in Costa. I met up with Sarah the other day. To get together with someone. This again is a very similar to meet up with someone. So if we get together, we plan, we make an arrangement to see each other. We will discuss this when we get together. We will get together next week. Now stop by, stop in, and pop in are 3 phrasal verbs with the same type of meaning. So, if you stop by somewhere, you visit someone for a short time, usually while you're on the way to somewhere else. So you could say, we will pop in on our way to Dublin. This means we're going to visit someone in their house as we are driving to Dublin. These are usually short enough visits and they can be organised quite late. For example, stop by on your way home from the match. If you left your school book in someone's house, you could pop in on your way to school to pick up your book. To set off or to head off. This is to start your journey, to leave a place. So when are you heading off to Africa? When do you set off for your holidays? I head off to India next week. To see someone off. This is where you go to the place that they are leaving from to say goodbye, usually an airport. So we will go to the airport tomorrow to see you off. This means we're going to bring you to the airport, stand in the airport and wave goodbye. You are seeing them off. We saw John off yesterday. It was very emotional. We don't normally see my brother off, but because he's going travelling for an entire year, we did. So we're basically saying we went to the airport and waved them off. To check in. So this is when you notify a hotel or a service you are using that you are present. So for a hotel, this is when you go up to the reception desk and get your room number. You tell them you're here, you get your key card. This is checking in. With a plane, it's the same idea. It is when you get your boarding pass, and if you have a bag, that your bag goes under. It also applies to other services when you let them know that you are there. Another meaning of check-in is when you check in with someone. This is when you contact them and ask them if there's any problems. You're making sure that they are okay. We will check in with you when we arrive at the airport. This means when we arrive at the airport, we'll call you or text you and say, we're okay, we made it to the airport. We're contacting them to let them know there's been no problems. Another example, I'm just going to check in with Sarah. She should have been home by now. So we're worried about Sarah. We had expected her home and she's not home yet. So we are contacting her to make sure she is okay. Make sure she hasn't encountered any problems. To get around to something. This is when you finally do something you've been planning to do for a while. So, for example, the council finally got around to fixing the potholes on my road. So, the council, after a long period of time, fixed the potholes. I finally got around to fixing the sink. I have been planning to do this for a while, but eventually I did it. I wanted to see the new movie in the cinema, but I never got around to it. So I had the plan and the idea to go to the cinema, but I never did. To deal with something or someone. This is when you take an action to solve a problem, or you are talking to someone to solve their problem. So, for example, sometimes you have to deal with tricky people. That is just part of life. So in this case, we have to just take action to solve the person's problem. The person mightn't be the nicest, but we just have to go with it. I will deal with the accountant if you handle the customer. So we are saying we will talk to the accountant and provide anything they need so long as you talk to the customer. General queries are dealt with our head of office. This means that the head of office solves these problems. Any emails or phone calls about these general queries go to the head office. To fly through something. This is when you do something quickly or easily. She is very efficient. She will fly through the audit. This means that the auditor will do her job very quickly and with ease. It's not difficult to her. She flew through that test. The person did the test easily and quickly. To bank on something. This means you can depend on or rely on it happening. So, for example, Sarah is always late. You can bank on it. This means we can rely on the fact that Sarah will be late. With the current rate of inflation, you can bank on prices going up. It's pretty certain that prices are going to go up. You can rely on it, depend on it, plan your future around the fact that prices will go up. To come up with, to suggest an idea or think of a plan. The government needs to come up with an idea to solve the housing crisis. So the government needs to think of an idea. She came up with an idea to double her income. So she thought of one. She thought of an idea. We must come up with a plan that shareholders would be happy with. We need to think of a plan, think of an idea that will satisfy the shareholders. To count on someone or something. Again, very similar to bank on, means to rely on or depend on. We are counting on you to babysit for us this weekend. It means we're relying on you. We need you to babysit. Sarah is very reliable. You can count on her to do what she says. So Sarah sticks to her word. We can depend on the fact that she will do what she says she will. So I hope you found this useful and learned a few new words. Try to use some of them in a sentence in the comments below and I'll let you know if it's correct.